Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Thursday, October 23, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. You want to make sure you're in a comfortable position, relaxed into your body, still as a statue, and focused on your breath rising and falling. We tend to worry because the ego abhors being weak, vulnerable, and unprotected from unexpected change. It thinks real strength is found in hardness and wants total security, safety, and 100% guarantee that life will be okay. Yet, the ego doesn't realize that life is a perpetual leap of faith into the unknown. And the ego has forgotten that true strength is found in softness, and that water always wins over rock in the end. Our ego is learning how to have a soft, forgiving heart filled with trust. For this is the only way to relax, enjoy this lifetime, and truly become worry-free. So the worrier within us can be a bit tricky to catch and sometimes super challenging to stop. We can get accustomed to blindly following the over-analytical, skeptical, doubting mindset and feel this is more intelligent and trustworthy than our free-flowing, spontaneously arising intuition. The worry addict inside us is that part which has stopped appreciating life just the way it is. It feels incapable of accepting that whatever will manifest tomorrow will be for the highest good of all concerned. The worrier inside us is like a 24-hour slave laborer who is constantly efforting for security through pushing the mind to dwell only on a negative perspective of life. It is illogical and so fearful that it believes thinking positively is just some weak, gullible, naive, unrealistic mindset that is unprepared for some potential future horror that could occur. This is why so many people take the road of focusing on what they don't want. It's easier, okay? And I just explained to you why it's easier. Old Chinese proverb, if your problem has a solution, then why worry about it? If your problem doesn't have a solution, then why worry about it? There's not much you can do to convince a super worried mind that a negative outcome is not coming ahead. This is the root of why so many people focus on what they don't want. A biochemical cocktail has been created in the worry-filled brain that make it quite challenging and almost painful to believe in positive thoughts. The worrier feels at home, and life is somewhat under control if it keeps thinking negative thoughts. Now, the worried mind, the worried brain cocktail generates this right feeling that we should be worried and continue on this path, being even more serious and concerned about any potentially highly critical or important life situation. The worried mind cannot trust life or take a vacation, for it's never a good time to joke around, have any fun, appreciate our spiritual nature, or celebrate being alive today. And when the cocktail of worried biochemicals have taken over the brain, it is so powerful that the only place to find any freedom or clarity is by shifting gears into higher consciousness. And when we interject a steady stream of pure awareness into our mind, we slowly stop believing that our fearful fantasy is going to manifest. The energy of pure consciousness acts like a river of clean, clear flowing water. which purifies away the negative ideas which have little foundation in reality. By simply being aware of our consciousness for a few minutes, we can instantly release our ego's need to be afraid and in control. We can begin to sip a deeper, succulent experience of life that feels open, trusting, and loves enjoying the sensations of a deeper relaxation inside. The normal self is the mind. Mind is with limitations, but pure consciousness is beyond limitation and is reached by investigation into the I, Raman Rishi. You can tell a worried mind several million times not to worry. Yet the reason why it continues worrying is that it is uneducated, ignorant. It doesn't know how to relax the body, love the mystery, and trust in a perfect future. It thinks too much, feels too powerless, and feels the need to be in control of it all. Yet, when it imagines some fearful scene is occurring, it believes its thoughts are having no energetic impact on the outer environment or people. The worried mind is ignorant of what quantum physics has proven the past 50 years, that thoughts are things that impact our world. Every thought and every feeling you have is impacting your environment, community, the entire world on some level. For example, it's been proven that someone who you're emotionally close with on the other side of the world can feel it when you shift into a highly emotional state of love, anxiety, or fear. We know people are more prone to doing business with those who live from a state of trust, faith, and connection rather than worry and fear. We are able to manifest, magnetize, and attract the right people and situations we want when our heart is resonating with the feeling that everything is going to be fine. The more we comprehend the deep power we each hold in every thought we think, the easier it will become to step back from the worried mind and transcend it. Now, if we cannot step away from the mind, we are a mere slave to its forces. When you look at your worries directly, you may see that they typically are directed at the outer world. The mind tends to get hooked on thoughts about possessions, money situations, home life, our physical body, what other people think, if our loved ones are doing okay, and what we will manifest in our future. The untrained mind can worry about anything. It is a real creative genius that will poke around every possible fearful corner. Sometimes the mind will worry about our loved ones, thinking that this is a form of caring about them. We might even feel guilty if they don't worry about them, thinking that not worrying or fearing for their life means we don't truly care about them. The problem with this is that this worrying energy is sending out a negative vibration of fear that is unhealthy, untrusting, unsupportive, and actually pulls their loved ones down energetically. When we worry about someone, it energetically drains the life force of another being, cutting off our trusting relationship with them and causing them to feel more isolated and lonely in this universe. Be aware. Worrying is a highly unconscious habit that can be more addictive than cocaine. It can completely destroy a life that was potentially filled with joy, love, and laughter. And if we don't learn how to transcend this addictive mindset, the energy can even implode within ourselves. When worry becomes self-abusive, we perpetually doubt who we are, why we are here, what we are doing, and fear being wrong about everything we say and feel. We can end up doubting our lives on every level, and this can evolve into an insanely stressful way of being that manifests into a psychosomatic dis-ease and eventually death. Now, this is something to worry about. It's vital to create a new response to life where we are deeply appreciating and trusting each moment, feeling the great goodness of life that is naturally here and all around us now. Do not worry. There are some basic steps you can take to stop your inner worrier in its tracks and reclaim a life of full of trust and joy. And the first is to own the fact that every single worried thought that you have is being generated by you. Yep. You are the one creating it. And so you are the one who can stop creating it. If you do not take responsibility for it, you cannot stop it. Simply investigate what is happening inside, and you'll see that your mind is focusing on what it does not want to think, have, do, imagine, feel, experience, or manifest. And when you take responsibility for this, knowing you are the master and authority of your next thought process, and can simply choose to focus on whatever you want to focus on, you begin to investing your time and energy into something fun, uplifting, trustworthy, and new. It's empowering to know that you can imagine anything you want at any time, and that new thought process will impact your experience of reality. What if all your time was spent focusing on what you do want to manifest instead of being invested in visualizing and fearing what you don't want? How would your body feel by the end of the day? When you empower yourself to only visualize something wonderful each day, you begin to imagine the warm rays of sunshine reaching into your heart as your feet are cozily nestled in the warm sand and you're gazing at the orange-pink sunset across the ocean. This thought alone creates an instant happy cocktail in your brain that can relieve you of those thoughts which were dwelling in that dark, smelly garbage bin overflowing with anxiety and fear. There is one method that's been discovered to becoming worry-free, which is perhaps the most powerful of them all. I would say that this is the backbone of getting rid of the worry vibe from your life forever. The big secret here comes to learning the fine habit of how to replace worry with wonder. Instead of fearing what might occur, replace it with being curious and wondering what might occur. Realize that there are an infinite number of possible outcomes that could manifest at any moment in your future. All day long, remain in a constant state of curiosity. You cannot be so arrogant to think that you actually know exactly what this universe has in store for you, or anyone for that matter. As you begin to open the door of wonder, you start tapping into this awesome sense of innocence inside. It feels like your heart is a newborn flower opening its petals to the sun. For a few moments right now, allow your heart to feel any feeling you can summon of pure innocence and goodness. Remember what it was like when you were a fresh newborn baby who knew absolutely nothing, playing in the dirt, making sandcastles, looking at a butterfly passing by. Recall what life was like to be curious about everything. We are always relating to life in a state of awe about every little thing around us. We see this amazing universe for what it truly is. This is the path of perpetual curiosity, and it destroys worry instantly, every single time. Implement this simple curiosity switch the moment you find your mind worrying. With a bit of practice, the mind will shift gears automatically and will be replacing worry with wonder for you each time. You'll soon discover that your time on earth will naturally be filled with wonder. making every day absolutely wonderful. Don't worry about what the world wants from you. Worry about what makes you come more alive. Because what the world really needs are people who are more alive. Lawrence Flashan. Another powerful tool to transcending worry is this: to strengthen your mental discipline and focus. When the reins on the mind are too loose or too tight, those wild worry horses inside will go crazy, trample all over your life. Every day we need to strengthen our spiritual connection to our innermost being. This manifests through opening our heart to nature, creating roots in spiritual trust with wings of divine curiosity. And when we simply trust that life is always guiding us towards a greater and higher good, we can rest easy inside. We can remain open and curious each day along the journey and allow the spiritual goodness to find us wherever we may be. Those of us who have been playing the worrying game for years might have turned into a worry zombie. If you feel you are not used to trusting in life, feel numb to love, lightness, joy, or orgasmic pleasure, you could have become a zombie. To step out of the zombie zone, pull back strong on your mind's reins. Steer those crazy horses back into the soft green pleasure pastures of the heart. Hold the mind firm on the energy and feeling of trust. Feel that one positive thing that you love in life is here now. Give it all of your appreciation. Devote yourself to trusting life. Repeat and feel all day long that you are now trusting life. Be committed to living in a state of wonder. This inner devotion to you will change everything for the better. Use your breath to expand out of your worried mind. Enhance your positive state of being. Literally takes 30 seconds to make this change. Inhale slowly for 10 seconds. Hold your breath for 10 seconds. Exhale slowly for 10 seconds. Feeling trusting energy is growing inside. Practice this breath cycle for 3 minutes, and you'll find yourself entering a very calming, centered state of mind with a peaceful, still awareness. If you cannot find a few minutes to breathe, just even take one long, deep breath into your heart the moment worry creeps in. You'll create a more expansive, relaxed sensation in the chest, and you'll be able to instantly step back from the worried mind. Be aware that awareness is always the main core ingredient needed for creating a worry-free mind. Anytime you find your mind beginning to worry about anything, retreat back into what is aware. Step back into the ever-present witness of the mind. Be the observer. Be the one watching the thoughts float by without participating in their drama or story. Witnessing means having no attachment to the outcome. This is one of the most essential and instantly effective worry-reversing habits you can practice. You step away from the mind. You don't interact with any of the thoughts that come in. They just pass through you, and that's it. Okay? To permanently move your head out of the land of Worryville forever, you will want to take a long, deep, honest look at what your personal worry issues are typically about. What are you so attached to these particular issues and not those other things? Get curious about the subtleties around this worry habit, and you'll find out what your innermost fears are and why they are there. Explore, investigate, and then digest what your soul is truly longing to experience. Get to know yourself more deeply and intimately. You must choose to comprehend the different forms of false security your ego is reaching for and why. If you ever want to fully relax into your spiritual essence and truly be free from this perpetual search for safety the ego is craving. So, yeah, people go, wait, you have to participate in life, right? Well, yeah, but you don't have to participate in the mind. You can let it flail around, be insecure, be worry, stress, anxiety, fear, while you observe. See, you're not participating. You're not interactive with it. Everything just kind of floats by. You know? Because why? You know what's going on. Your awareness. You look at that, you say, okay, not going to step in that. No way, Jose. Period. I watch it. I watch these thoughts float by. When before I used to embrace them and bring them into my reality and living them. And now they just float by. This is where you'll get to this point. I mean, these are good. I've shared these before, but they need to be shared. You should have these printed up and put on your wall. Obey no orders except those from within. Obey no orders except those from within. The only God is life itself. Life is God. God is life. Truth is within. Do not look for it elsewhere. Always has been there. The truth has always been within us. And when you look everywhere else, that's the truth. Love is prayer. Emptiness is the door to truth. It is the means, the end, and the achievement. Life is here and now. Live fully awake. Do not swim, float. People say, there's people say, what does that mean? Well, the analogy is that you're in a body of water, and all around you there are people, grimacing and, swimming as hard as they can, flailing around, going where whoever knows where. And in the meantime, you're in the water and you're just floating. None of that around you is affecting you at all. Choose not to participate. Die each moment so that you are renewed each moment. It's just difficult for a lot of people to fathom. Well, if I die each moment, then I'm sending bad signals that I will actually die. A lot of people are afraid of that. Fear again. Ego mind. Stop seeking that which is stop and see. Love is our true essence. Love has no limitations of caste, religion, race, or nationality. We are all beads strung together on the same thread of love. To awaken this unity, to spread to others, the love that is our inherent nature, is the true goal of human life. Amachi. But when you look at Osho came up with these 10 commandments. It's true. When you are aware and you commit to obeying no orders except those from within you, which is what? The God. Right? And then when we truly are aware, with perfect clarity, that the only God is life itself, how much do you think the things would change on how we look at life? Not only with ourselves, but everything else. This is why we talk a lot about surrender. right? Letting go, surrendering every day. Emptiness is the door to truth. It is the means, the end, and the achievement. We empty out all the debris, all the garbage, all the crap that we've accumulated in not only this lifetime, but many others. This is why you hear me talk so many times about letting go. Really, just dumping it out, period. Use different analogies, create your own. On what is that, tell me what that is. Well, you have a hot air balloon, you got ballast in it. You want to fly high, you're going to dump the sandbags onto the ground, so it'll go up higher. You're not going to go up higher if you just keep putting sandbags in the bottom in a basket, because you won't go anywhere. You'll be so loaded down. And a lot of us are this way. We're moving away from suffering by being aware. We know where suffering is. Okay? And we all experience suffering in this life, in all lives, because of one little thing, ignorance. We aren't aware. And if you take the word ignore and add a little dance to it, you get ignorance. And when we ignore the truth of our infinite being, our ignorance expands and soon transfers us into the path of suffering. To transcend your ignorance and find spiritual freedom in your life again, the intention for a deeper awareness is needed. We must choose to welcome the most profound state of consciousness we can imagine. By simply opening up to our own consciousness, we can release anything instantly that would make us suffer. Nothing more than pure awareness is needed to transcend this illusion and rediscover the liberating truth of who we are. Each moment of our lives has the potentiality to become the most liberating, healing, enlightening experience we can handle. And the more open, ready, and willing we are to receive something magnificent, the easier and faster the magic comes flooding in. And when you are ready for that, it will find you. You don't have to strive for it. In fact, the harder you work for it, the further it moves away from you. Just make it your priority to totally relax and enjoy your life. Fully surrender to your real self. Explore who you truly are, what you really want, and what your purpose on earth actually is on a spiritual level. Life is wild. Love is wild. And God is absolutely wild. And those who are wild always reach enlightenment. Also. How many people have you come across in this life alone where maybe you've been in a space of observing, watching, okay? Not necessarily knowing it. And you come across those where their egos need to be right about everything, anything, doesn't matter. Okay. And remember what you say, they're constantly saying they're right, that they got to prove they're right. Being right can be the hardest ego trip to get off of, and yet causes a major amount of suffering. Now, If the ego believes it is wrong about any one little thing, it starts feeling insecure. And that you basically could be wrong about everything in your entire life. And whatever the mind believes is true always becomes our reality in that moment. The colored lens you perceive your world with today becomes how the world tends to appear for you tomorrow. If everyone around you from birth to death says that life is this hard, painful, and unfair experience, and you believe them, then how will you ever learn how to relax, let go, trust, and enjoy living in this amazing universe? How many of us on this planet in this now moment think we must fight to get what we want in life? That's an old one. You've probably heard it many times, or witnessed it, or experienced it. We end up manifesting a very serious, challenging ride. To experience love, enlightenment, and freedom, we must step over our ego and be open to a completely new experience of life in each moment. Our inner and outer world is one massive playground. Learn how to be free and have fun within your life. Think of each new day as your chance to step on a very interesting and comical life stage. You can choose any hat to wear, lens to see through, or fascinating role you desire to play. See, these are things that I think that most of us know about. It's like, let go of doing and practice simply being. That's another tough one for us. Just to simply be. Let go of doing. It has become abnormal for people to just relax. Abnormal. Sit still, be silent and alone. We've got all these doers. Doers have become the societal norm. Many people avoid meditation because they think it is boring and don't have time for it, or feel they have failed at it, trying to quiet their mind after a few random attempts. And when we realize that, all of our suffering, chaos, and illness in this life is caused by our inability to quiet the mind. We will spend more time practicing being present and less invested in doing something, thinking it will take us somewhere better than being here. Eventually, with enough time spent practicing being present to the now, we discover our real infinite nature inside. We realize we are spiritual beings and have everything we were looking for and so much more. The greatest mystics in history all discovered enlightenment when they were simply being quiet, relaxed, and fully in the here now. When their big awakening happened, they were not trying to do anything. This is the great mystery of life. And mastery of the mind is by far the greatest achievement mankind can ever have. The experience of being here now, feeling one with the infinite, all-powerful, and omniscient, universal God force is enough. It is empowering, highly enlightening to redefine all those old definitions of what it means to get somewhere special in your life. And being free from our family's unconscious myths and society's deep, ignorant programming. That's a biggie. Society's deep, ignorant programming. When you were a child, what was communicated to you about enlightenment? Anything? Did anybody have a clue what enlightenment was or how to experience an enlightening state of bliss? Did anyone ever show you how to open your chakras, meditate, or communicate with God? Chances are, most likely, everyone around you was more or less spiritually lost and then telling you what they believed would make you happy, loved, and successful in this life. They wanted the best for you, yet ended up communicating to you how to be unhappy, unenlightened through their actions and belief system and behavior. You go back and think about your childhood. What do you remember was the typical standard story you were told that made you feel like a failure, isolated, unloved, or a sense of separation? What belief system did you inherit from your family that created massive limits on how you feel about yourself and life today? You may have heard some messages like, you need an education to become somebody. There just isn't enough time for that. We cannot afford that. You cannot be, do, or have XYZ. You are just too much of a blah, blah, blah. Naturally, we are all very gullible as children, yet if we did not become identified with our family's limiting belief system, we may not be here. If we didn't think like they did, they might have stopped feeding us and pushed us out of the tribe. We needed to think small, do what we were told, and obey the one in charge in order to remain accepted, loved, and alive. From the moment we were born, we all received the idea that this unenlightened state of life was the norm. You may have seen all the insane world problems on the nightly TV news and thought that this was how the entire world operated. And mass suffering was just the way things were. As we became teenagers, we either rebelled or became assimilated into the unenlightenment system, fell deeper into the story of separation. And the more we accepted or rebelled from our community, the greater our feelings of lack, isolation, and struggle grew inside. Being surrounded by unenlightened people was an enormous lose-lose situation. And to make matters worse, we were forced to attend some jail-like education system, which worked about 3% of our brain's potentiality and was designed to churn once brilliant creative kids through a social formatting grinder so they become hard workers for the system. We were taught wonderful lies that everyone believed to be true, like how a human life expectancy should only be 75 to 100 years old, when really our DNA can last at least 300 years. We were told that we would have to work really hard to have a home, limited energy resources, food, knowledge, and power. We were never taught to rebel against authority, think freely, independently, or even consider the possibility of becoming spiritually enlightened. The school system made it illegal to teach children how to find a deep inner connection with the infinite source. It was not important to learn how to meditate, heal your body through your breath, or how to make tantric love and master your mind through totally quietness and stillness. Enjoy all of our emotions. Know the infinite truth of who we are, or how to achieve absolute inner freedom and bliss. The society all around us is still hypnotizing adults, their children, to believe that success is all about achieving a higher level of status, money, and career. Our poor education system is still in its infancy, simply has never had a large dose of enlightenment, so it doesn't know any better. There are many awakened beings in the world today who know the truth, that real success in life is defined by how liberated, spiritually rich, loving, and enlightened you are as a human being. This world is slowly waking up, one being at a time, People are beginning to see that happiness is not something you can attain from striving to achieve the right income, status, career, marriage, or diploma. Striving to reach these things will only distract you from walking your spiritual path and discover the most rewarding life experience of them all. Join you in the meditation. Return to close us out.
This is Julie Joy. This is Julie Joy. Sadly, the closeout was not recorded for this particular call, and all the many years I've been recording Jerry, this has only happened a handful of times. We apologize.